Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, and perhaps even good evening. Thank you so much for dropping by this super exciting special event on the Daz channel. I'm so super pleased that you're all here. I'm extremely excited that we're streaming to such a large audience. This is crazy good. I welcome you all, and it's wonderful that you hung in there. I thought I was inspired by the NVIDIA event yesterday, who had a holding loop up for about 2 days. Can you believe it? It's just showing somebody's computer, so one of those things. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be here and reveal this super exciting thing that I have been playing with for the last couple of months almost. So for those of you who don't know me, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Jay Lewis. I've been using Daz Studio since 2006. It's been quite a long time. I've seen so many figure generations like Victoria 4 and the original Genesis figure and anything up to today, essentially. And from, I think, the summer of last year, I've been doing regular live streams here on the Daz YouTube channel. And I'm doing an additional one for Daz Plus members. So if you are a Daz Plus subscriber, then you get me twice a month. That's a stream in which we're discussing somewhat more in-depth stuff. But there's one every month here on this channel. And we're trying to expand this partnership going forward, which is really cool. I'm really excited about this. So today then is all about something. Oh yeah, no, hang on. Before I forget, let me introduce you to my moderators today, which are Julia, who is swinging a hammer here. Mr. Brian has polished his banhammer. And then there's also the Dragonate. All those people are in chat. They are here to help you with some of the links. If you do have questions, then do drop them in the chat. It is whizzing by at a phenomenal speed, so I might not be able to pick it all up. But my moderators will take your questions and they'll put them onto something like an internal private Discord thread that we have. And when it comes to the end of it, my presentation, as it were, then I'm going to be super happy to answer questions. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. If I can't do that, I do apologize. There's a lot going on. 1,500 people. No pressure. I like it. So, think of me as the guy from the future. I have traveled and I've brought something back. I have seen things that I'm super excited to share with you today. Before I do that, though, I thought it'd be really fun to have a quick rundown of what you, the community, thought this event was going to be about. So we had a look on social media, we had a look on the forums, and then we had a look at this here and compiled a little list here, which is the top 10 community guesses that we found. So it's like in a late night show type thing. So on number 10, we have, does Daz Studio perhaps integrate the USB export option? Interesting thought. On number 9, we have, is Daz Studio going to be available on an iPad soon? Also a very cool idea. Some of these are really cool. Number 8, alert, the Daz Megalodon, because it's, jaw-dropping event and all that. Totally get that. Very funny. Also number 7, pets. We need the Daz Hamster 8.1. That I can neither confirm nor deny. Number 6, aliens. It's got something to do with aliens. We don't know what, but there's aliens involved. Number 5, Daz 3D implements artificial intelligence into Daz Studio, like, hey Daz, make art. Wouldn't that be cool? Number 4, Daz Studio integration with NVIDIA Omniverse. Inspired by yesterday's event. Number 3, Daz 3D dark-themed website. Do you know what? That might actually be in the works and might be released soon. Who knows? Number 2, Daz Studio 5. Possible. Or is it, or number 1, the fear that everyone says, is it a new NFT collection? Well, all those are really interesting thoughts. And the one thing that it actually is we didn't put on the list, and we did that deliberately. Rather than me telling you about it, I'm just going to go and show you what it's about. Are you sitting down? Because you got to sit down. Are you ready for this? You ready? Okay. Deep breath. Here we go. This is what this is about. Genesis 9, and with it, Victoria 9, and that is the super exciting reveal, and it is so super exciting to show you what she looks like while I tell you about all the new features. And before we're going to have a look at what this figure looks like inside Daz Studio. I'm telling you, there are improvements here that I haven't seen in previous figure generations, and it is an absolute pleasure to finally share this with you. I've been working with the figure for the last few weeks, and I've never been able to share images or in fact a knowledge of the existence of this person here. Meet Victoria 9, a natural redhead with unprecedented skin detail and expressions as well. It is based on Genesis 9, of course, which is a unified base figure. So think back to the days when we had Victoria 4 and you had one outfit and that wouldn't fit Stephanie 4 or your custom character, and Daz came up with this revolutionary idea of combining making a unified base mesh that had several sliders that could turn one figure into a man or a woman, anything and everything in between, a child, a creature, a monster, a car, anything you want. So whatever clothing, whatever creators come up with is going to be possible with this figure. And back in the Genesis 1 days, there were some issues with stretching and things not being easy to create for clothing creators. So this is something that we've always been thinking about. Wouldn't it be cool to have that, but without the issues? And Daz have gone ahead and made that possible with Genesis 9. Here she is from all angles. Victoria 9, who's on, that's the custom character for the Genesis 9 figure, comes with two skin maps. One is the regular freckled skin and one is the vitiligo skin. I'm going to go and show you this again because she is just so beautiful while I tell you about all the other things that have improved in this figure generation. By the way, this is not a pre-recording. If you had thought that, whoops, come on. There we go. There she is. So she has, not only does she have two types of skin, Victoria 9, she comes with 8K skin details, which is something we haven't seen before on Daz figures. I'm going to show you some high-res renders in a moment, and we can really zoom in. I've made like 5K renders, and you can really zoom in and see those pores and realism that just hasn't been there before. It's unbelievable. It being a unified base figure means that everything is now quartz, so there's nothing that hints at the fact that there are, let's just say, kind of human anatomy that is being referenced. It's just all plain quartz, and that is going to be huge for content creators who can now go and turn this figure into anything they can imagine. And I remember Alessandro is very much into making anthropomorphic things. He's going to have a lot of fun with these, with this base mesh. Something else that's happened that's really cool. This is the vitiligo skin here. Very exciting. It's absolutely beautiful, and we're going to see these in high-res renders there in a moment. Something else has happened is that some of the geometry has been split out from the figure. So we already had the eyelashes and the tear duct as separate objects, but now we have separate eyes and a separate mouth bag. And that might sound complicated, but for you as a user, it's not actually a deal at all. But for content creators, this is massive, because when you go and sculpt on the figure, often what happens is that you go and distort things like the mouth bags or the eyes, and you spend some time making them round again and putting them into position, and that no longer happens because you don't have to bring them into your modeling application to begin with. Also, super exciting, we have HD details integrated in the figure, which is really cool. So we don't have a separate HD product that's going to complement an SD product. It is now essentially a slider inside the figure. Let me show you some other renders while I talk you through some of these improvements here. These are going to come up on the Daz website very soon. So there's a link I'm going to share with you. There's also going to be a freebie that you're going to get just for watching the stream. That'd be nice. Isn't this cool? So this is her. These have not been done by me. These have been done by actual promo artists, and she looks absolutely amazing. If you zoom in, and remember, these are pictures that are basically on made for websites, so they're relatively low res, like 2,000 to 3,000 image pixels wide, and you can already see the amazing amount of skin detail that I just haven't seen in other figures before. I'm going to give you a link to somewhere where you can watch them at your own leisure. This is some hair that I believe will be included in the Pro package. We'll talk more about that later. Here she is as a kind of a mid shot. This is the bikini that comes free if you do pre-order Victoria 9 today, or in the lead up to her release. Then you're going to get this bikini here for free. So this is something I need to make clear. What I'm showing you right now is still very much in development. It's in the final stages, but it's not quite finished yet. So what you see here might differ in minute detail from what you're actually going to get. So once again, like with previous figure generations, the Genesis 9 base figure will be free. And then the characters that you add on top of that, as well as clothing, that can be purchased from the store. Isn't she amazing? So it's not just the skin detail I want to bring to your attention. It's also the way her face is shaped. So this is where we're talking about expressions which have been elevated to something that we haven't seen before. And I've rendered out I've rendered out about 10 or so, and I'm going to let you have a look at it in a moment, especially also in comparison to the previous generation and what was possible then. This here is the Voss hair, by the way, by Aprillish. Voss hair, one of my absolute favorites, a very big top seller with Daz, and Aprillish has made a Genesis 9 version available, and that is also going to become part of the pre-order freebie. If you pre-order Victoria 9, you're going to get this as a freebie, which is really, really nice. There she is, high key lighting. Com would be proud. Com would be proud. Vitiligo skin looks absolutely mesmerizing. Very cool. Very cool. So realism, real emphasis on realism. And it's absolutely stunning to work with that figure. It's also easy. So a couple of products are coming to the market. One I've extensively tested already by Man Friday that's called something about poses. I forgot now. I'm so sorry. It is something that lets you apply Genesis 8 poses onto Genesis 9 with literally just one click. So that is coming out. It's currently in testing. My God. So if you look at that, and I don't know how well this is coming out on the stream, but if you zoom in really closely, that is insane. That is literally insane. I literally had to take moments while I was working to think this is something else. This is something else. So congrats to the team for putting this together. Round of applause, literally. Absolutely amazing. And then, of course, expressions. That's the next thing I want to bring to your attention. So I have, before I show you this inside Daz Studio, and you can just literally you just watch these renders for hours and hours. It's really cool. These are some of the expressions that come not as one clicks. These are literally sliders. And I'll show you these twice. I'll show you this once as it comes out with Victoria 9 when dialed into 100%. I believe this is, I forgot what that was now. What was it? Angry. That's angry. Here's bored. Also very nice. Bored. Frown. But so the difference I find in these sliders is that the expressions now work, and they work super realistically. Oh, that's another thing I need to tell you about. There's an asymmetry morph now built in, so you can make one part of the face different, or one side of the face different to the others. So that's just super cool. Shock. And here she's full smile, full face, smiling. And that is a surprise indeed. And here's wink. Very cool. This one is the 5K one I made. So this is tremendously large. I'm going to go and put this up on my Daz gallery page. So you can literally, this is a PNG, there's no post work on this, and you can literally just zoom in, and you just keep zooming in, and there's more detail just keeps coming. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I don't even know how exactly they've done it. I was in a couple of meetings where Josh was explaining things, and I have still don't know how this amount of detail is even possible. All I can tell you, 8K skin buffs. Skin material zones have changed. We now have things like we have 4 main base mats, and we have 6 material zones, 4 for the body and 2 for the fingernails and toenails. And then the eyes, they're a separate object, they have their own. Let me show you these expressions. If you're thinking, well, I mean, do I really need a new figure generation? It's one of those things. I'm really happy with Genesis 8 and 8.1, and I totally agree with you. I was too until I saw this, and this is a comparison now between the same expression slider on Genesis 8.1 with the 8.1 shader and the same expression on Genesis 9. So obviously it's not the same slider, but it's the same name of the slider in a different figure, if you know what I mean. Right? And you can really see that sometimes it's difficult to imagine, well, what could be possibly improved on a new figure, or what is it that we possibly need? And then when you look at these things side by side, you go, oh yeah, dang, brother, I get you. So very cool. Not that these expressions are bad, but there's still that little bit of uncanny valley in there, and I really don't see that anymore. This is an absolutely stunning piece of work that the team have done there. This is frown. This is happy. She's happy, but I think she's kind of more naturally happy. And she's a natural redhead, which is, you know, super, super exciting. There we go. I'm going to share all these images with you, both on my Daz page as well as on my ArtStation page in the next couple of days. I don't know if I'm going to get around to it today, but yeah, that is Victoria 9. My goodness. And I'm absolutely in love. I'm absolutely in love with not just the figure, but with the whole Genesis 9 figure. Let me go and bring that figure up in Daz Studio, and then we're going to have a look at, you know, poke through under the hood, and then I'm going to super happy to answer any of your questions, which I'm sure you have. It's in the hands of PAs now. The final release of Victoria 9 and Genesis 9 is going to be mid to late October. So as I said, the team are still working on this, and you'll be the first to know. You can pre-order her today, and if you do, you get a little bonus that I'm going to share with you in a moment. And it's the Voss hair, and it's that bikini. So there's two versions of the figure. There's the regular Genesis, the V9 figure as a standalone figure for $59.99. I can even reveal prices. This is a professional presentation. I love it. $59.99. And there's also a bundle that is available for $159.99, and that comes with once he says professional, then it goes all out of the window, doesn't it? It comes with hair, and it comes with a couple of outfits additional to the freebie that you're getting. It also comes with poses, and it comes with something called a movement collection. That is very interesting. And yeah, the Voss hair and the summer bikini are free, and there's going to be another bikini in the Pro bundle. And it's all HD with 8K skin details. It is really, really cool. Let me show you what the figure looks like inside Daz Studio. So this comes in as this unified base mesh here. And the first thing, let me go bring my pointer focus thing on so that you can go and follow my cursor. If I can find it. Where is it? Hello, there. Haha. It just puts that little highlight around my cursor. And that is just really nice. So this is the dev rig. I thought let's look at it. Let's look at them. It's a correct pronoun for Genesis 9 is them. Let's look at them without skin textures, and we're going to deal with that in a moment. So if you open that up here, then you see Genesis 9 is at the top, and we have the eyelashes and the tear duct. But we also now have eyes as a separate object and the mouth as a separate object. And this is a big deal because it means that when you apply a subdivision surface modifier to the base figure, which is twice the resolution. The base figure without the subdivision is twice the resolution as the previous generation. If you put a subdivision surface modifier onto that, you only put polygons where you really want them. So before that, if we use a figure and put it to whatever sub D3 or sub D4, the problem is that things are subdivided that you don't necessarily need subdivision on, like the eyes and the teeth. And with this splitting out, that is no longer an issue. Let's head over to the parameters tab and have a look on the mesh resolution. We can see it's high resolution by default, but I can't switch it to base, and I will go and show you the topology in a second. And then the render subdivision is set to 3. That's what the base figure comes in as. Let's take a look at the topology quickly. Pose is the same as the Genesis 8A pose. Let's go and switch this over to wire texture shaded. Then I can show you everything is quads. Is that exciting or what? So when I saw that, I was thinking, my God, that's just insane. That means there's opportunity to turn this into literally a truck and literally things that aren't necessarily human. So very nice. Whereas Genesis 8 and previous generations were all centered around like breasts and human features, this is no longer the case. Yes. So very interesting. When that is set to high res, then of course everything is subdivided. I don't have the exact polygon count. It is, I believe, under 100,000, but it is it's definitely higher res. It's about twice as high res as previous generations were. So very interesting. Not that, sorry. What next? Expressions. And oh no, actually, sorry, the biggest feature of them all, how do we turn this into a man or a woman or into anything in between? That happens just like on other Genesis figures. So you head over to, on the parameters tab, you head over to actor, and then we have full body and we have people. So people is the thing that dials up both the head and the body morph. And if you look into your people folder in the current generation, you're probably going to find lots of characters you've bought there. So when I dial this up, so currently nothing is enabled here, but if I dial the base feminine up, then they turn into a woman. And if I dial that back down and bring in the masculine, they turn into a man. So this is exactly that concept that we have with the original Genesis figure, and that is just so exciting. So one shirt technically fits all, thanks to the auto following that's integrated in Daz Studio. Doesn't mean it fits well. So when there's a morph that you dial into the figure and that same morph isn't existent in the clothing, then Daz Studio is going to go ahead and kind of fake it, and it's going to try its best to follow the contours of the figure. But if it's unsuccessful, you get this kind of breast hugging phenomenon, and that something that is supposed to fit loosely kind of hugs the figure. And this is the Victoria 9, so this is the same principle. You can dial that in, and then this is how you'd dial in your custom characters. And then just to finish this off on the whoops on the HD detail. So you dial in your custom character, and then you head over to the Victoria HD details or your character's HD details, and then you get all these additional things sculpted in that you can probably not see in my viewport right now, because that's only using the first level rather than the third level of subdivision. So those would only come out if you either set this up to 3 here. That is when you really see the difference, but that's also when your computer gets really slow. So I'd rather not do that and let you explore this by yourself. So me too, actually, Petra. I also love the Genesis 1 generation. I was a little bit disappointed when that went back into 2 separate base meshes. So I'm super thrilled that we have 1 again. Spine bones. Oh yeah, Websole. Good point. So the bone naming conventions have completely changed. Let me show you this. And this is also to bring it in line with industry standards, so that's more or less compatible. So we have the hip, then we have the pelvis, then we have spine 1, spine 2, spine 3. And this is essentially the reason why Genesis 8 poses aren't going to work without a little, calculation on that. And then we have left thigh, right thigh, left shin, foot, toes, and so forth. So yes, poses, that is something that I was a little bit, poses and previous generation clothing, that was something that I was a little ambivalent about, how we're going to deal with that. So if I were to go and pick a pose from my library here, something like, SJ can't really find any poses, maybe this one here, Feel the Funk. Feel the Funk. Oh, that's not actually a pose. Dang. By function, let's have standing. I just want to show you this exciting product that I thought. Z striker pose. That's cool. Oh, here, fresh beauty poses. First one that comes up. That's cool. So if I were to go and try to apply this pose here, fresh beauty pose, to, thank you, thank you, Deviant, appreciate that. If I go and apply this pose onto Genesis 9, this happens. So the base node is being moved, but that's really not what we want. Thankfully, the man Friday went ahead and created something that comes up here in the convert menu, and this is how you can select a pose and literally just go either use this menu here, convert and apply selected poses, or hit Control Alt P. That is currently not working from the smart content products, so you have to go, and at the moment, so he's still, this is all beta stuff that is, you know, it's all being worked on. So if you show this in the content library and then you head over to convert, then that happens. G8 pose on G9, and then you can go and make refinements like you have to do on every pose. But yeah, that is how easy it is to bring existing poses onto the new figure, and that is great news. That was good news for me when I played around with it. So that works. Ta-da! Okay, let me load in a character with textures quickly before I take questions, because I'm sure you're dying to get your hands on this. And as I said, you can't today, but the pre-order is open today. So you'll be able to go and pre-order the figure today, and you're going to get it as soon as it comes out. As Jay is trying to find his that was the animation. That's not what I wanted to show you. That's also not what I wanted to show you. Was it here? No. Was it here? Yes. Yes. Like this. This is one of the bikinis from Genesis 8 that I have retrofitted onto Genesis 9 with a bit of sculpting in Blender. And I'm going to share with you how to do this in an upcoming live stream, of course. And let's just have a quick nosy while that is loading and see if we had any questions already. Yes, we did. Oh, okay. That is exciting. Brian in Ohio was wondering, as a unified figure like the original Genesis, what are the possibilities of bringing in a character from the original Genesis geometry to the new Genesis 9 geometry? Good question, Brian. That isn't possible, not easily. It is possible as a shape morph, you can do that, but the geometry is completely different between Genesis and Genesis 9, so they don't share any attributes. It's a bit like Genesis 8 and Genesis 9. They really don't share any similarities. But having said that, it is possible to go and export the shape of a figure that you like say, I don't know, ICO 5, just as an example, and you can export that as a high resolution OBJ, and then use a software like R3DS Wrap to wrap Genesis 9 around it, and then bring that in as a morph. There's a little mini series that I've made on the Daz channel that explains the process if you're interested in that. So that is how creators usually bring older shapes into newer generation characters. This hair here is the Vertigo. I'm going to put the lights away here so that and the cameras, so that they are not interfering there. The hair, don't worry about the hair. That is Sloshworks' wonderful Sloshworks Colorworks shaders on the Vertigo ponytail that I've retrofitted to her. I just wanted to show you the expressions, and I'll just go make my scene a little bit brighter here. There. Well, maybe that's too bright. Filament. I love filament. I can't wait to see improvements to filament. So don't worry about the hair. Just to have a look at what the expressions look like and where you find other androgynous shape morphs and feminine and male shape morphs. Let me just go and find that. So under parameters, under pose controls, we find the head. And this is kind of funky. So even though the mouth and bits and pieces have been separated, you find the expressions like where you have found them before, and they're all named the same thing. So I believe, and I'm not entirely sure about this, but some expressions will come with the Genesis 9 base figure, but I believe there'll be a product available that is called the Character Essentials, and that adds other abilities, other morph sliders to the figure, like, you know, speciality, kind of muscularity morphs and shape morphs. If you wanted to make a character a little bit more rotund, or, you know, those types of things, that'll be available as kind of a morph pack. But these are the expressions. So you just dial them up and wait a second until your computer comes back to life. And then eventually, there we go. Just like you're used to them. They work out of the box with Puppeteer. So if you wanted to blend multiple expressions together, like I've shown you before, then that is possible. Puppeteer works just like it did before. There's only one snag while I'm talking about Daz Studio that I need to bring to your attention. The new figure is going to work only, and you'd expect that, to work with the newest version of Daz Studio, which as of today is Daz Studio 4.21. Yes, Daz Studio 4.21. This is a kind of a beta version, a publishing build that I'm using that has all these features. But by the time you get to use the figure, we will have Daz Studio 4.21. And only that version will work with all new features of the Genesis figure, Genesis 9 figure. So go update. There are many other, there's something, it's Daz Studio 5, I get this question a lot actually. So Daz Studio 5 is not around the corner. It is in development. It's not a secret. It's been in development for a while, but it's not at a point where the team can release it yet. So before that happens, when that happens, I really don't know. And I also don't know what features we're going to see in that. But before that happens, we're going to see several improvements still to Daz Studio 4. So that is something to stay tuned about. No Omniverse news, I'm afraid. No Omniverse news. Even though, have you watched the NVIDIA presentation? That was quite exciting, I have to tell you. Making pretty pictures is really only the very, very tiny tip of the iceberg for NVIDIA, isn't it? So let me show you the other shape morphs that we can mix and match like you're using them right now. So this would be under, let me go to actor, under full body. You can see them, they're currently color coded. I don't know if that's going to stay like this. Keep in mind, these are all pre-release files that I'm showing you here. It's just wonderful to be able to share this with you and share some workflows with you. So we have under full body, we have a base folder, and in it we can dial in things that will be applicable to both figures. So emaciated, that means, you know, if you haven't eaten for a while, then this is what that would look like. And you can dial in as much or as little as you like. Things like fitness will be available. And then there's fitness details as well. Fitness mass. There's also body heavy. So if you wanted to have a more rotund character. And the cool thing is, so I'm using all this now with Victoria 9, but there's no problem to use this with a male character. And Michael 9 will be released as well, but we don't have a date on that yet. He'll be, you know, he's in the works. He's in the works. Like always, male isn't quite ready yet. I remember using Michael 3 for years before Michael 4 came out, while we still had Victoria 4. Body older, so you can, you know, you have this kind of drooping effect. The muscles have all been a little bit just aged over the years. I know what that's like. By the way, happy birthday to Dragonate. It was his birthday yesterday. I don't know which one, but happy birthday. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. Always appreciate that. Body mass, increase or decrease. That's like a positive, negative slider here. It's hours of fun, I tell you. So these are the base morphs that are kind of applicable to both men and women. But when I go back into the people folder, I can go and bring Victoria 9 away and her HD details and just turn that into the regular female figure, and then use the same morphs. Or if I say, hey, I'd like my character to be a little bit more androgynous, maybe like 30% female and like 70% male, and then imagine there's different hair now, but that is possible. And then on top of that, we have, this is another thing that I need to share with you today. The skin textures on the base characters have they've been improved, and we have 4 different skin shades for both men and women on the character, which is great. Let me, while she's wearing her bikini, let me just go and show you what they look like. That is in here somewhere. No, it's not actually. It's in here. That is smart content compatible. At least on my system it is. It is here under materials, under iRay. And so the placement of these things, they will kind of change. I just wanted to show you this. So we have white, Asian, African American, and Hispanic types of options for the skin as she comes out of the box. So this is one thing that I have that I've realized, and maybe I'll put this into iRay. Shall I do that? Can we do that? Might have to bring my lights back here. So something that that I need to just tell you about is that the base figure has just drastically improved in the way they look. So that is something that's awesome. So you no longer do you need to necessarily have a custom character with better skin. The team give you all that in the base figure as part of the base figure. So these are all high-res skins. That is the white skin. This one is the Asian skin. And they all have different complexions because there's just so many different types of people around there. African American, and you get that out of the box for free, which is really cool. You get some insane micro details for the male and the female skin that you can use, dial in if you like. And here's the feminine Hispanic skin. So all types of different complexion out of the box without having to pay a penny for that. That all comes with the free Genesis 9 base figure. And we have the same for men. So we have these 4 types of skin shades for men as well. Then we have all kinds of different eyelashes and stuff. So that that might change. Different eye colors, of course. There we go. That is really that. But my favorite is, seriously, I cannot say this often enough, is literally Victoria 9. She is just so awesome. It's crazy. I'm gonna go load her in and have her render in iRay while we talk about questions. The pre-order is for Victoria 9. Yes, Gary, that is absolutely correct. That is correct. USD support, I don't know anything about that. It is certainly not a feature that I'm aware of, but it would certainly be cool. Are there new JCNs, David? I would, yes, definitely. I assume so, but which ones I'm not privy to, I'm afraid. Yes, Deviant, you can export the figure without the eyes. Let me actually show you a little tip that, I'm not sure why this isn't changing. Maybe my scene is still loading. I'll show you a little tip in a moment how to do this without having to make things invisible. And there's actually another great product by Man Friday that's just come out, which is the OBJ Companion, and that makes that really easy for you. But you can do it with Daz Studio without a specific product. Let's just show you this. So if you have the figure selected here and you have all types of items parented underneath it, like eyelashes as well as clothing, you can export her out without having to make any of these things invisible. So you still have to make if you wanted to use the base resolution morph, you still have to set that manually to base resolution here. But once you've done that, you're going to go to export and pick let's say my desktop here. I'll just call it test, and then you're going to pick OBJ. That is usually what you do. FBX exporter, that is a feature that I can tell you about. FBX exporter and importer has been updated. If you use it in the latest beta version of Daz Studio and in 4.21 in the release version, you'll see that the menus have changed and updated. So there's lots of changes that have happened under the hood. I'm just going to go and use test here. And then this dialog comes up. And just for your information, if you tick this box here, filter objects, and set this to select roots, then only the base figure will be exported and nothing that is attached. So this is how you can avoid having to invisibilize everything and maybe make mistakes like, oh dang, my eyelashes were in the morph and now I've morphed it and now the morph doesn't come back and it's all terrible, what am I going to do now? So you can avoid that by literally just ticking this tick box here, filter objects, and then using the default, which is selected roots. Just an aside. Yes, and that exports the figure without the eye. So I can just go and switch him off here, mouth and eyes. Eyeless Victoria. Good for Halloween, that. I'll best put this on again. Yeah, but when you do that and export the figure, morph her, import the morph back, there's no distortions in the eyes and the mouth. You can still bring them into your modeler and use them for reference, that you know where they need to be. But yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Eli, will G9 clothes fit on Genesis 8 and 8.1? There's usually a level of backward compatibility, but not forward compatibility. So the normal auto fit clones will kick in when you go from newer generation clothing to an older generation. Then you get the default auto fits, but they're not governed by auto fit clones. So hit or miss. Will you have built-in AR kit support? I doubt it, Dorian, but I really don't know about this. I'm not privy to the features that the team have planned, I'm afraid. Will there be a muscle system? That is probably a PA product. I think there's some muscularity morphs in here. If I'm just gonna have a look. I think like the basic muscle morphs are in here, but if you're looking for something specific, I'm just going to go and look for muscle. I mean, there's, whoops, muscle, body, muscular details, muscular mass. So we have that. Yep, that is muscly. And that's also in full eye now. What was I thinking, huh? Muscle morph. There we go. Note that when you render this out, it's going to be much more high res because all these are HD morphs. So as soon as you do that and you render this out, or if, like I said before, if you set your viewport here to a higher subdivision level than 1, then your computer is going to go insanely slow, but it'll then render all that HD detail in the viewport. So if you don't see that and you think, what scam is this? It means this here is the actual subdivision level that you're rendering, but you don't see that in the viewport unless you also set this number to that number or increase it to something like 3 or 4. Careful going beyond 4 because that really plays hazard with your computer. It's just a lot of detail that poor little guy needs to produce. What about AutoFit, Flock of Angels? Yes, good point. And Red Sox, Rex Red, sorry. Yes, AutoFit does work. Let me go and show you that maybe on a brand new scene. That does work within reason. So it's like it has always worked, but the DAS have always been fairly good at supporting the previous generation in a new generation figure. So like when Genesis 2 came out, we had Genesis 1 AutoFit clones in there. And likewise, when Genesis 8 came out, we had Genesis 3 AutoFit clones in there. Clones, those are things that there's a dev load provided as well. That's the one that comes without the eyes. I'll just use the regular figure here. AutoFit clones are essentially shapes that Daz Studio uses under the hood to infer, oh yeah, that's what the clothing was built for, so that means that piece of the clothing needs to now be kind of here, and it's trying its best. So let me show you how that works. So it works best for tight-fitting clothing, not so much for wider clothing. Just for argument's sake, let's try the MDU D-Force Blazer for Genesis. Blazer closed, and that's definitely made for Genesis 8, so I'm going to go and double-click that. And then this dialog comes up that you're more than familiar with, and you can go and switch this to what was this thing made for. So it was made for Genesis 8 female. And then you can use the type down here. And this has changed as well, actually. This is something that I believe Lyra did this, I believe. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that has changed. You can now pick more descriptive templates against which the clothing collides, if I understand this correctly. So in our case, this is probably kind of a bodysuit loose template here, dresses and footwear and gloves. So this falls right into the bodysuit loose template category, I think. Then you give Daz Studio a moment, and then this happens. So it fits, but it might not fit very well. So you may still have to make manual adjustments to your items of clothing. As I said, Tighter clothing usually works better than wider clothing. But don't forget, even if it doesn't fit 100%, if you use de-force clothing, you stand a good chance of it just smoothing out when you run the simulation. I hope that explains it. But that's something that you're going to have to play around with on a per clothing type basis. Will G9 be compatible with PowerPose at launch? I don't know, to be honest. That is a very good question, Vholf. I would love to see that. Currently in the beta version that I'm dealing with, I haven't seen that yet, but this is not the final version, so that may well materialize by the time G9 gets released. What type of merchant resources will be available at launch? Yes, good question. We've talked about this in PA meetings at length. There will be some available, but I don't want to give you the wrong information. I'm just going to say this, some quite dramatically cool changes are coming to the way that you can use the resources that come with the base figure. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing by, missaying something that is not quite correct, but from what I understand, you're going to be excited. That's all I can say. What are the specs of the system you are demonstrating on us? Unknown Robot, yes, good question. I have a Z840 workstation, much like Alan Art. Welcome, by the way, wonderful. I've just recently seen on the forums that you're using the same HP Z workstation that I use. It's a kind of a pretty fat workstation that has technically room for 2 to 3 really large GPUs in there. I can't fit 2 of mine in there. So I have a Z840 workstation with 48 gigabytes of system RAM. I have 2 Xeon processors in there. Those are the E5 2670 processors. And I have 1 RTX 2080 card. And as of last Monday, 1 RTX 3090 card in the same system. And they're very happy rendering by itself. But I can tell you that before I upgraded to the 2080-3090 combo, I had 2 2080 cards, and the new figure renders beautifully with those as well. So I believe if you have 8 gigabytes of VRAM, you're going to be okay. I haven't tested this on my older systems with the GTX 970. I just haven't had a chance to try that out, but watch the community feed. I can update you on that. And if the new Victoria 9 figure does not work on a 4 gigabyte VRAM graphics card, then I will show you a workaround that will make that work. Don't you worry about that. How resource intense will G9 be compared to G8 and 8.1? That is a good question, Melissa. There are higher textures on V9 right now. So that is the only thing that brings this up. The render resolution as such hasn't really changed. There's just more detail in the base figure. So as long as you can render current HD characters fine, then you're going to have no problem rendering Victoria 9 and the Genesis 9 figures. If you have at least 8 gigabytes of VRAM, you're probably okay rendering 1 character at least, maybe even 2. If you're getting into this realm of rendering 5 or 6 characters, and a heavy scenery set, then you're going to have to look into products like the Scene Optimizer to just reduce those textures down and not overload the VRAM in your card. And if you're super lucky, yes, Julia, you can, by the way. You can post the pre-order link. Please do that. Yes, you can do that. I'm just seeing that now. Yes, you can do that. And if you're extremely lucky and you've pre-ordered one of the NVIDIA 4090 cards, my goodness, that still has 24 gigabytes of RAM, I think, but it's twice as fast as a 3090 Ti. So you're going to be flying. How will the Daz Gallery moderate content now? I don't know. I don't know why that has changed. Content in, I think I know what you mean. There is an additional tick box on the Daz website now that says if you're already registered and you've been a member of the Daz shopping cart for many years, then nothing is going to change. But you just have an option now that you can disable content that isn't shown to you in search results if it's classed as mature. So nothing's being moderated, nothing's being curbed or anything. If that is what you mean, then there's just an extra filter in there that is to bring that in line with many of the other websites that have implemented that already. USD support, we talked about that. I'm not entirely sure what's happening. If that is a feature that's being in development. It is not here right now. That's all I know. I'm not entirely sure if they're working on it. The pose converter, Datenbeck, welcome by the way, wonderful to see you. The pose converter is currently in its beta state, doesn't work with animations, but the man Friday and I are in touch and we're talking about this, and he is looking into it. If he can make it available, he will. If not, then not. But he's keen. I've sent him a couple of animated pose files, and I'll see what we can do. It would be really cool. I've brought in this animation that I've shown you there in the beginning, like this one here. That was done actually with Mixamo. So this is not the whole animation that came from Mixamo, but those are literally 2 or 3 poses that I've grabbed from that workaround I've shown you a while ago on the Daz channel, in which I'm bringing the Genesis 2 figure and putting it into Mixamo, and then I'm exporting that and I'm putting that onto Genesis 8, and then I'm using Man Friday's Pose Converter to go and bring that onto Genesis 9. His product isn't the only Pose Converter product out there. Also, big shout out to Riversoft Art, who has also got a Bone Minion product in the works to convert poses. So those will be available. Just thought I'd let you know. I haven't tried using fax. That is a good question. I haven't had a chance to explore that yet. There's fax and there's also the asymmetry morph that I just haven't had a chance to play with yet. But that is also something that I'm looking forward to updating you on as soon as I can. Animals, Alicia, a good question. I've mentioned animals because it is very well possible to bring animals onto the new figure, but currently we don't have them yet. So that is something, you know, we're just gonna have to wait what PAs and the Daz team come up with. So currently I can't show you because Victoria 9 is the only G9 character that we currently have, as well as the base male and the base female figure. Yeah, that's all I can tell you about that. Okay, that is all the questions I have seen there. Is there anything else? Can JCMs on G8 convert to G9? I don't know, I'm afraid. Got to be brutally honest for you. Let me have a look at the pre-order page, actually. Is that here? Do we have it? Yes, there we go. Genesis 9 Ultra Advanced. Also, is there anything I've forgotten to talk about? If there is, then, you know, please let me know. I'm not sure if there is. But so the deal is, HD morphs are integrated, 8K skin textures on V9. On the base Genesis 9 figure, you have 4 skin details that are white, Hispanic, African American, and Asian on both the male and the female figure. You have a ton of morphs to play with, and they're all mix and match. HD is now kind of in brackets because these custom characters, they're coming with an HD morph. And if you haven't tried it out, at the bottom here, there's a little slider that lets you play with the unified figure. Isn't that cool? So Josh is like one of the main tech artists at Daz, and he told us that this is essentially a mix between the base male and the base female, but it's neither nor. So it's essentially taking the best of both worlds to leave intact, and then the rest will just move. And the implication of that is that you have one shirt, and within reason, it fits both a female and a male figure. Now, as I said before, Daz Studio is clever enough to create follow morphs if they are not in the clothing item that you're trying to use. Oh man, I'm full scrum. I wasn't up in here. Let's start again from the beginning. Genesis 9. This is the deal. Told you about that. Here's that slider I was playing with a minute ago. My God, I'm so sorry about this. So if Daz Studio doesn't detect a morph for a figure you're dialing in, let's say Victoria 9, you're fitting an item and it's meant for male and you're dialing in the Victoria 9 morph, it's not guaranteed that there is a morph for that. So if Daz Studio detects that, it will kind of fake create one and just follow the contours of the body as good as it can. It tries to not make the clothing intersect with the body. That's what it's trying. And if it is successful and you like the look of it, then you can use it. If you don't like the look of it, you can export that auto-fitted item of clothing out, smooth it out in a 3D editor of your choice. Could be Blender, ZBrush, Hexagon, anything that you're using that you're comfortable with. Export that out and then import that as that dedicated fit morph. I will show you how to do this on upcoming live streams here on the Daz channel. All new asymmetry morphs. I cannot wait to play with this. There is also something that the team have told me today that I didn't even know about, that the sales page doesn't even mention. The latest version of Daz Studio will have a makeup editor. So it will work with LIEs, but the team have dramatically improved performance of LIEs in regards to the makeup editor. So this is something that I haven't explored yet, but it is coming, so I can tell you that much. Double the mesh density of the base figure, so we have more polygons. They're all quads, improved for posing and animation, and I can't wait to play with this. These are beta files that I've played with, so I can't wait to get my hands on the release version. 8K materials, very exciting. I mean, you've seen it in the high-res renders that I've shown you. I'll show you again in a minute because they were just so cool. That is just unprecedented realism. Enhanced facts. I don't know if this is already on there. Thank you, producer, very good. I don't know if that's already baked into the morph dials that we have, or if we have the faceplate again. I have no information on that. As soon as I have, I will let you know. And of course, separated mouth and eye geometry. Very cool. Perfect measurements, very nice. Jaw adjustment, neck and height ratio. Oh, it is such a beautiful figure. I cannot wait for you guys to get your hands on it. If you pre-order her today, either the base figure or the bundle, then you will reap the benefit of Aprilicious Voss hair reimagined for Victoria 9. And you're going to get the base character, and you're also going to get, on the bundle, if you order the bundle, you get that and you get this summer bikini. The bundle has another bikini, which is Summer Tide, I think. So there's two bikinis that you get. One of those things. I'm just going to go and show you that super amazing, super detail again, because I can't quite believe that we're having that. I think that was that here. Yeah, like this. And this is a render that I've made. So this was not done by a professional promo artist. And for that, it looks really, really good. The more you zoom in, the more detail you can see. Can you see the lips? I don't know how that's going to come out on the stream, but as I said, I'm going to put this up on my ArtStation and my Daz gallery. If you can find those links, mods, then please put them out there, and then you will be able to just look at this and go nuts, and hopefully pre-order the figure. It's very, very cool. Hey, before we go, as a thank you for watching, the Fugazi and I have made a funky little outfit together. We call it the Caryl outfit. And because if you get your hands on Genesis 9, she's not going to have much to wear, and I want you to have this. So my moderators are going to post that into the chat right now. Fugazi and I have been making an outfit, and I will show you this in Daz Studio quickly. For Genesis 9, and it works both on the male as well as the female figure. And have I actually posted the right link into Discord? I may have sent you the old version. Have I? I just made an update to that. 21st of September. Yeah, no, that's the new version. So whatever's on Discord, post that to the chat now, please. This is the Fugazi outfit, and we call that Caryl outfit. Let me just show you. It's wonderful. We're planning Daz Plus stream, which is happening, I think, on Saturday. If you're around for that, we're going to make another outfit for G9, and we're going to show you how this works. If you're around for that, if you're a Daz Plus subscriber, then watch out for that. I'll show you how to make an outfit fit for these special kind of fit morphs. Was it here? I think it's just called product. Yeah, there we go. That's just on my thing. Wardrobe, Caryl outfit. I have it. One is with the Daz logo and one is without the Daz logo, because I thought, that's kind of fun. That's what it looks like. It's a two-part thing. It is not something we want to sell, but it does come with a couple of material previews here. You can change the strip. If J were only to select the correct item, you can change the strips here. You can also change them in the surfaces editor, and you can also change the with or without logo here. There's like a red red version of the Daz logo and a green one. And the Daz logo is just it's just a node here. What's it called? Geoshell. There we go. If you don't want to see that, you can switch it off. But I thought that was kind of cool to make a make a Daz themed outfit, and it works. Let me just show you functionality wise. Of course, it works with the Genesis 8 male and female figure as well. Nope, not that. People. So base feminine looks like that. And this is what I was talking about. So when I dial this morph in on the figure, the clothing tries to dial this morph in as well. And if that morph doesn't exist in the figure, Daz Studio just kind of makes it up. It also fits Victoria 9. There we go. And I've added some of the other fit morphs as well, like the muscularity morph and stuff. It fits the man as well. And anything in between for androgynous figures. There we go. So Caryl outfit by Fugazi and I with compliments. Also, Fugazi is in the chat as 3D Megaverse. He has a wonderful YouTube channel with tons and tons of exciting tips and tricks on Marvelous Designer, as well as Substance Painter and all kinds of other funky little goodies. I think that is it from me today. Whoop, one last question. Lioness, wonderful to see you, by the way. Please ask him to show the amazing proportional dials. Oh, I don't know where they are. Can you show me? The UV map of Genesis, also a good idea. While Lioness tells me where that is, the proportional dials, I don't know where they are. I haven't explored that yet. The UV map, yes, you can see the UV map. Let me go and show you. I'm just going to start with the head. I'll choose that, and then we're going over to UV view. That is what the head looks like. Now you see it, now you don't. I'm going to go and show you the body. Quads. There is even, I don't know if that's going to be part of the release figure. I'll show you something else. Very, very exciting stuff. That UV view, there we go. Lots of stuff that you can really sink your teeth in and dig into. And many of your questions are probably going to be answered as you just play with these things. But if you have any questions and I'm signing off, do leave them in the comments. I will keep an eye on the thread, and if I can answer, I will let you know. If I can't, I'll try to figure it out. And if I can't do that either, then I'm so sorry. There is something else I wanted to show you. I don't know if that is part of the release. I just don't know. But there is a thing. If you go to surfaces, we go to the UV set, there's a general map, there's a base multi-map, that's the one we're using now, but there's also a base single UDIM. So I don't know if materials are going to come with that. I just wanted to show you that the team, when they bring in textures into other applications to work with them, they don't deal with individual UDIM tiles. They're dealing with one massive 16K tile, and they're using this, the base UDIM that I'm switching over on the whole figure. Now, we're not going to see anything right now, but if I now go and select this and show you the UV view, you'll see that, well, sorry, my mistake. If I just show you that all, and then switch over to UV view, then you'll see we have a combined large UV map. I don't know if materials are going to come like that or not, but that is currently part of it. That may be removed before release, I really don't know, but I think that is super, super helpful. If I could just have my material on that, export something into another application like Unreal Engine or Unity or whatever, wherever else I need my texture in, that is in there. But I don't know if that's going to remain there or not. So I'll switch it back to this. How do you get the red hair? Oh, that red hair I showed you in the promos is one hair is actually going to come with the Pro bundle, and that is not the hair I've shown you today. I haven't had access to that. The red hair I have shown you is the Vertigo ponytail that I have retrofitted, and then I've used Sloshworks Excellent Color Works to blend just the right shade of red into that. Yes, that's how I've done that. That's how I've done that on this type of hair, right? But the other hair that you've seen in the other promos, this is Sloshworks. And the vertigo ponytail, that is from Genesis 8. I've just retrofitted that. The other ones that you've seen, and there's going to be a ton of other promos. I believe this hair is actually part of the bundle, of the Pro bundle. Actor full body proportion, height, larger, smaller. I will go there. Thank you so much, Linus. I appreciate that. Let's take a look at it. Selects character, goes into parameters, and as an actor, full body proportions, full body, are there proportions here? Oh, there we go, these ones here, proportions, height, ah yes, that's what you mean. I haven't actually seen that. This reminds me of Lyra's excellent phenotypes product. So the trouble is when you have a figure and you want them to be taller or less tall in the real world, what would happen is there wouldn't be scaled proportionately. You wouldn't see, if you see like somebody who's 5 foot tall instead of somebody who's 7 feet tall, they don't just, they're not proportionally scaled. And this is what these things do. So this is the height. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. Proportions larger and proportion smaller. This is essentially now turning into kind of a little people territory, but it retains the head shape and adjusts the body shape accordingly. Thank you, Linus. Linus has been playing with Genesis 9 a lot, I would imagine. Do you have to buy Victoria 9 to get Genesis 9? No, you do not. Genesis 9 will be available as a free pack, just like the Genesis 8 Starter Essentials, 3 Starter Essentials. There'll be a Genesis 9 Starter Essentials. That is available for free. Victoria 9 is the product that you have to buy to get the 8K skin texture and this beautiful person that I've shown you many times. And then there's, in addition to that, at one point, there'll be something like a Character Essentials pack available that adds many of these sliders into your figure. They might not be available in the base figure. Can we see some changes to the skeleton posing? I don't have power pose available on here. I mean, it's basic, but it's not quite set up, I don't think. I can try. So she, they, them could bend, but usually I wouldn't do this on a per joint basis. I would just do this with power pose. That's kind of my go-to thing, and that is not currently implemented. But you can probably tell if I dial in existing poses with the pose converter. You'll probably see it bends, the figure bends fairly well from what I can see. I can actually, because it's a safe skin texture, I can just go and switch off my outfit here, and you can see some details. If that helps, do let me know. Let me go and put the arm on a little bend as well. There. And then show you this without any overlays, potentially. That is all I have for today. I hope it was informative, and I hope you're enjoying the new figure. I certainly have had a ton of fun playing with her and making super exciting renders with her. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget, pre-order now to get the freebies. Enjoy the little freebie that the Fugazi and I have made for you. And once the new figure arrives, it will be mid to late October. We don't have an exact release date yet. Then show us all your best renders. I'll be back on the Daz channel, for Daz Plus subscribers on the weekend at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know it's very, very late for you guys in Europe. I do apologize for the late time. I hope you hung in there, and I hope this got you excited about the things to come on the Daz front. Daz Plus stream next Saturday. Going forward, we're planning to bring more content to the YouTube channel, Daz and I, and it's going to be an amazing journey to bring you more tips and tricks on the Daz channel in regards to how to use things, how to make cool renders, and how to become better 3D artists. That is really our aim. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm going to leave you one more time with this super amazing pre-sale teaser. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.